You've done your due diligence. You've had your calls with the GP. You're ready to invest. And then you get an email with a link to an investor portal, and a PDF that's 60 pages long, and suddenly it's not clear what you're supposed to do next. In this video I'm going to walk you through every step of the LP onboarding process from commitment to wire, what you'll be asked to sign, what each document means, what to actually read carefully, and what happens to your money after it leaves your account. First, let me give you the high-level map. LP onboarding typically has 5 stages. Stage 1, Commitment. You verbally or digitally confirm your investment amount. Stage 2, Document Package. The GP sends you the operating agreement, subscription agreement, and often a private placement memorandum. You sign. Stage 3, Accredited Investor Verification. You provide documentation that you qualify as an accredited investor. Stage 4, Funding. You wire your capital to the deal's escrow or operating account. Stage 5, Confirmation and Portal Access. Your investment is confirmed, your investor portal is updated, and you start receiving reports. Most LPs get stuck at Stage 2, the documents. Let me demystify what you're actually signing. The subscription agreement is the shorter document and it's where you make the actual legal commitment to invest. Key things you're representing in a subscription agreement: your investment amount, that you are an accredited investor, that you have reviewed the PPM and understand the risks, and that you're investing for your own account, not on behalf of someone else unless disclosed. Read it fully. The representations you make have legal weight. If you misrepresent your accredited investor status, that's a material issue. The subscription agreement also typically includes your wire instructions, the specific account your funds should go to. Double-check the wire instructions against what your GP or their team communicates directly. Wire fraud is real and wire instructions are a known attack vector. Never send a wire based solely on a document you received without confirming the destination with the GP by phone. The operating agreement is the governing document of the LLC, the legal entity that owns the property. This is the document that defines what happens across every material scenario, how distributions are made, how the promote is calculated, what GP consent is required for and when, what LP voting rights exist, what the removal mechanism looks like, and what happens in a liquidity event. Most LPs read none of it. Some read the waterfall section. The ones who are protected read 3 things carefully. Section 1, the distribution waterfall and promote structure. Confirm it matches what you were told in the deal summary. Section 2, GP authority and LP consent thresholds. What can the GP do without your vote, and what requires LP approval? Section 3, removal and dissolution provisions. What happens if the GP fails to perform? What are your options? You don't need to be a lawyer to read these sections. You need to understand what you're agreeing to. The PPM, Private Placement Memorandum, is the risk disclosure document. It is long. It is written by attorneys. And it contains real information alongside boilerplate that appears in almost every real estate deal. The boilerplate: investment involves risk of total loss of capital. You know this. Keep reading. The specific sections worth your time in the PPM. The deal description and business plan: does this match what you were told verbally? The risk factors specific to this property, not the generic ones, the specific ones that relate to market, operator, asset class, or execution risk. The GP's track record: any deals that ended in loss, litigation, or below projections exits should be disclosed here. Conflicts of interest: if the GP is also the property manager, the lender, or has other financial relationships with the deal, it goes here. If the PPM's risk factors don't mention anything specific about this deal, just generic boilerplate, that tells you something about how carefully this offering was prepared. Stage 3 is Accredited Investor Verification. The GP is legally required to verify your accredited investor status, not just take your word for it. How this works in practice varies by offering. The 2 most common ways: self-certification on the subscription agreement: you represent that you're accredited, and the GP relies on that representation. And third-party verification, you use a service like verifyinvestor.com that reviews your tax returns, pay stubs, or CPA letter and provides a verification letter. The two most common accredited investor standards: net worth over $1 million excluding your primary residence, or income over $200,000 individually, or $300,000 with a spouse, for the prior 2 years, with the expectation of the same in the current year. If you're not accredited, you can still access some deals through the Reg CF exemption for non-accredited investors, but standard private syndications require accreditation. Know where you stand before you commit. Stage 4 is funding, the wire. Before you wire, confirm 3 things. 1. The wire destination. Call the GP directly and confirm the account name, account number, and routing number. Do not rely solely on the PDF. Email systems get compromised. Confirm the destination by voice. 2. The funding deadline. Most deals have a specific funding window, typically 48 to 72 hours before closing. Wire by the deadline. Late wires can complicate the deal's closing. 3. Your internal process. If your money is in a brokerage account, getting it to a bank account and then wired can take 2 to 3 days. Plan ahead. Once the wire goes out, keep your confirmation, the wire receipt with the amount, date, and destination. Send a copy to the GP and ask them to confirm receipt. Stage 5 is confirmation and portal access. After funding, you should receive a confirmation email from the GP that your investment is received and your membership interest is recorded. Access to the investor portal. Most GPs use a platform like AppFolio, Juniper Square, or a simpler system like a shared Google Drive. This is where you'll find financial reports, K1s, and communication from the GP. Your executed operating agreement. Confirm you have a fully signed copy with the GP signature, not just your signature page. The deal closing timeline. Know when the property is closing, when the acquisition is expected to complete, and when the first reporting period begins. If you don't receive these within 48 to 72 hours after the wire confirms, follow up. A reputable GP has a process for this and it runs smoothly. Here are the questions to ask at each stage. At commitment, what is the funding deadline and what are the exact wire instructions? At document review, does the distribution waterfall in the OA match what was presented in the deal summary? What LP consent is required for material decisions? At verification, what documentation do you need from me to verify accredited investor status? At funding, can you confirm receipt of my wire and let me know when my membership interest is recorded? At onboarding complete, what investor portal will you use? When will I receive my first report? What's the expected distribution timeline? These questions are not high-maintenance LP behavior. They're the minimum for understanding what you've just entered. One more thing. Keep a deal file. From the day you commit, keep copies of everything: the deal summary, your subscription agreement, the operating agreement, your wire confirmation, the executed agreement with GP signature, and every investor update you receive. If anything goes wrong, and sometimes things do, your documentation is your leverage. Here's the summary. The 5 stages of LP onboarding: commitment, documents, accredited verification, funding, confirmation and portal access. 3 documents to understand: subscription agreement, your legal commitment, operating agreement, the governing document, read the waterfall, consent thresholds, and removal provisions, and the PPM, risk disclosure, read the deal-specific sections, not just the boilerplate. Wire safely, confirm destination by phone. Plan for the 2 to 3 day transfer window. Keep a deal file with copies of everything. The LP due diligence checklist has a full onboarding section, linked in the description. Subscribe for the next one. We're going to talk about K1s, what they are, when they arrive, how to read them, and what your CPA needs from your real estate investments. Thanks.